Hey, thank you for joining us. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me loud and clear.
Oh, yes, very, very loud.
I can hear you too, Peter. Thank you. And super. Thank you, Duncan. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Peter. Let's kick this off. We are going to kick off the pace. We're going to do a super fast demo of things. So let me show you exactly what's going to happen here. I'm going to share my screen. And I think it's easier if I just share my entire screen. All right. And I can't see you right now, but Peter, can you tell me if you're able to see the screen, please?
Yes, I'm looking at your PowerPoint
Awesome.
browser.
Let's want to try and see if I can do a better screen sharing over here where I simply share the no, it doesn't let you share just the browser window separately. Or maybe it does. All right, I think entire screen is probably the best way to go. Okay, super. Thank you for joining us, folks. Let me tell you what exactly is happening here. I've got a presentation here in front of me. This is right now on PowerPoint online. And I'm just going to put this in slide sorter view so I can tell you exactly what I'm doing here. I've got a bunch of slides. Before you look at the number of slides and say, oh gosh, we got to sit through more than 20 slides. No, you don't. It's 16 slides. And guess what? Every even slide, so slide 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16 is classic standard PowerPoint slide, talk, slide kind of slides. Slides 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and 15, the ones with the blue borders, the light blue borders, those are Stream Alive interactions. So those are slides where I will not be talking, but I will be listening to you as you participate in the chat, and your answers are going to show up on my screen in real time, right? So let's get started. I'm going to kick it off with slide 1. And I'll come back to showing you how exactly this was accomplished. But first, let's see the end result. Let's see what it looks like when you run a presentation that is powered by chat and that is more of a conversation. So I'm going to choose platform here. I'm going to choose Microsoft Teams. So this is the Stream Alive add-in, which is running inside of my PowerPoint slide. And I've got the same add-in running on multiple slides. I've already given it access to my Teams calendar earlier, so it knows what meetings are coming up. It sees that I have a demo meeting happening right now, and I'm going to connect there. And I'm going to tell Stream Alive, hey, I'd like you to start reading responses from this meeting. It says connection successful, and hopefully it is successful. And at this point, it should be reading the text from the Teams meeting. So, folks, can you type in the Teams chat as to where you are joining us from today? Just type your city or type your country in the Teams chat. This is as simple an instruction set as possible. I just need to tell you, hey, put it in the chat, right? And as you put your answers, so Peter just types something, and I get to say that, oh, fantastic, we've got Peter in Reading, where it's 15 degrees centigrade, and it's in the afternoon over there. And I could jump across the pond and click on Dave here in Virginia, stateside. We look at Fahrenheit. So it's 61 Fahrenheit. Thank you for joining us, Dave from Virginia. It's 11 o'clock in the morning for you, same time zone as me. I'm up here in Jersey. And I can literally fly around the world and acknowledge people as they type where they're joining from. So Duncan is in Shillong, and Tina here is in Jersey as well, in Basking Ridge, New Jersey, right? Welcome, Tina. And that's beautiful, actually. We've got people from the North American continent, we've got people in Europe, and we've got people in Asia. And if I wanted to show how beautiful that is on the globe, I could literally make that happen where I could change my visualization to a globe and fly around the different places, spin the globe as I'd like, and go around and do exactly what I did earlier. But we spend so much time acknowledging people in the beginning, asking them where they're joining from, talk about time and weather, and Stream Alive makes this very, very, very simple. You can pretend to be anywhere. So Peter is now saying that he is in Cairo, and hey, if that's where you want to be, that totally works. And at this point, I can move from this listening slide to a talking slide. So I can tell you about how Stream Alive helps us unmute the audience, make presentations conversations, as you just saw that slide, that first slide. And I spent about 3 minutes on that slide, was a conversation with my audience. Right now, it's a small audience, but imagine a larger audience. Imagine 100 people, imagine 20 people, imagine 500 people, and having a conversation and visualizing as they type in the chat in real time, just in Microsoft Teams in this case. And we could do it on any other platform. It works with Zoom, works with Teams, works with Google Meet, works for in person sessions, works everywhere. At this point, I have a quiz. I have a poll rather. So if I were to ask you, how familiar are you with Stream Alive? And if you have never seen it in action, you're in for a treat, and just type the number one. If you have used our Zoom app and used our web app, you would just type 3, 4 in the chat. So folks, if you can just type in the chat. All right. So we have you've never seen it in action. Glad to happy to show you your first introduction to Stream Alive, Dave, and you already seen a glimpse of it. Basically, unmute the audience, make presentations, conversations, and make it as simple as possible for the audience. Just ask them to put it in the chat, nothing more than that. So we've got people at different stages, people who use our web app, people who've used our Zoom app and who are beta testing the PowerPoint add-in. Fantastic. We'll touch upon a lot of all of these. And the reason we're here today is because it's been 38 years since PowerPoint launched, and ever since then we've been doing one-way presentations, right? And here today we talk a lot about AI and new presentation apps. But before I jump there, I don't want to be presumptuous about PowerPoint. So I have a question for you, and by now you know the drill. Which of these have you actually used in the last 12 months? So if you've used PowerPoint and Keynote, just type 1, 2 or 1 and 2 in the chat so I know it's both of them. I just want to get a sense on which of these are your preferred presentation platforms. So just type in the chat, please. Well, we've got some presentation experts. We've got a lot of Gamma, Canva, all right. People using multiple platforms, but by and large, everybody seems to be using PowerPoint. I mean, all of you seem to have said PowerPoint. So PowerPoint rules the roost by and large, and they also have the most strong ecosystem of applications. So for PowerPoint has this, or rather Microsoft has this entire app source. And what you're seeing here is a manifestation of the Stream Alive app in PowerPoint. And the easy way to get that is simply go to Microsoft App Source. That is appsource.microsoft.com. Type Stream Alive. You get this PowerPoint add-in, click on Get It Now. It gets added to your account. And once you've done that, you just need to go to a slide like this and add an interaction, right? So I can actually do a new slide right now to show you what that looks like. So I've got an empty slide over here. I'm going to add an interaction. So this is the Stream Alive add-in. I add that into my slide. And at this point, I just move it a little bigger so it looks a little better. And I've got the add-in over here. I could pull up from my existing Stream Alive interactions. So that's what I did before this presentation here today, where I pulled up one of these interactions, added them to my slide over here, and lo and behold, I had that interaction over here. So this is exactly what I did for you to answer that question that you just did a little while back. So it's as simple as that. I know I showed you the Stream Alive web application from which I read my presentations. We'll come to that in a bit. But first, a little bit about AI and slides. I mean, some of you said you use Gamma. I'm sure a lot of you are reading about PowerPoint and Copilot, and there are all these different applications that people are talking about nowadays that help you, automate slide creation, do a whole bunch of things, create a first tab of thing, and we think that that solves some problems, but it still leaves a lot of basic things unsolved, and it raises a lot of questions. So before you do that, a quick thing on questions. I forgot to mention this, but Streamalive has a beautiful feature that automatically reads the chat and pulls out any questions. So Peter typed this in the chat a little while back when we did the map, where there was a picture that came up No, Peter, that is not Tina's house. Stream Alive just puts a generic picture from the internet of any location that people put. So if Tina had typed Cairo, she might have gotten the pyramids, and I don't think she stays there. So it just pulls up something that is interesting. Duncan is asking, how's everyone doing? And as I answer these questions, I can remove a question. Everyone's good, I think, I hope. Beautiful. How is the weather in London? Oh, Dave, the answer to that question, any time of the year is rainy, dark, and dreary. And I think Peter will agree. Does this work on Google Slides? No, Peter, not at this point because Google Slides does not allow embeds like we have with PowerPoint. So we've answered the weather question, we've answered the Google Slides question. I'm going to turn this on to unanswered questions. So anytime in the conversation, put a question in the chat. It will show up in my unanswered list. I will come back to the slide one more time before we wrap up. Is it available online PowerPoint only? No, Tina. Great, glad you asked. It also works with desktop PowerPoint. I keep changing. Like today, I'm doing it on online PowerPoint. Tomorrow, I might do it on desktop. It works with both. And Dan, what is the time in London? And the best way to answer that question is to go back here. And I think we had someone here in London, and I'm going to click on that. And the time here right now is 4 o'clock in the evening, I think. Yes. Mm. All right. Or is it 4:15 in the evening? All right. Perfect. So I'm going to go back here to the questions that all of you asked. And so Stream Alive, oops, sorry, I kind of jumped the gun over here. This was where I asked you all these questions. Is this available? Is Dave from London? Lots of questions from Dan. You got to ask Dave that yourself, Dan. And no, Dave is actually from Virginia. I think you missed the beginning where Dave joined us from Virginia. So here's the thing. We are having a conversation. We are having a dialogue, and most presentations are one-way monologues. As you hopefully seen, this is not most presentations. I've not been going talk, 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 talk through the course of these last few slides, right? But before I tell you my opinion on this, which I have a very strong one, I would love to know what you think is wrong with monologues. So if I were to ask you in one word, what are most monologues? I'm just going to, I think, can you just, I'm just going to refresh this interaction. So if I were to ask you for a word that captured your thought about monologues, what is that word? And can you put it in the Teams chat, please? One word that captures your thinking about monologues. Lectures, absolutely. Most lectures should not be, but Shakespeare. Okay. Droning of the non-flying kind, Shakespeare, lecture, what else? And feel free to put multiple words separately as separate points if you'd like. But they are linear, they are monologues, they are monotone, absolutely. And boring lectures, Shakespearean, people droning. I wonder what this would look like in a picture. I'm going to actually convert your responses into a picture just because we can, and because this picture has never been created before in the history of the internet. You never had these responses to this question. And all right, that looks kind of Shakespearean. I mean, okay, so allows me to riff, as you can see, have a bit of conversation, improvise a little bit on the spot, but essentially turn chat into dynamic real-time interactions like you just saw. So that way I can, instead of going talk, 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 drone, 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 I can go listen, talk, and literally have a conversation like we've been doing at scale so far, right? Okay, I promise you there's a reason for this question. So humor me here and tell me a childhood or a current hobby. I'm going to pick one of these hobbies down the line. So please make them legit, real, and we are going to use one of these to demo Streamalive's AI capabilities. So any childhood or current hobby, if you can just type it in the chat, please. All right. Shakespeare thespian. Okay, we have a lot of Shakespeare fans. Swimming, biking, painting, trekking. Beautiful. Please keep putting more and more responses. Disco dancing. Okay, just considering the sheer breadth of answers, and if you have more than one, feel free to put that out there. Sheer breadth of answers over here. reading, bird watching, all fantastic answers. I would love to actually visualize these and see what comes up. Couch potato. Okay. I want to see what couch potato and Shakespeare thespian looks together in an image. Let's see what comes up. Again, we just think we need to bring a lot more fun, a lot more improvisation, a lot more surprise. I have no clue what's going to come up right now, but just it's nice to riff with people. Okay, that looks like childhood. That looks like hobbies. That looks like a lot of fun, right? So we'll come back to the hobbies that you mentioned in a little bit, and thank you again for all of those beautiful answers. Uh, what we do, as you've seen, is make presentations into conversations, and oh, we were there in the childhood hobbies. Speaking of childhood hobbies, I wanted to share a quick one from my end. So around the pandemic, I Name Place Animal Thing is a game I used to play as a kid, and I used the metaphor of the game to write this book, which was my project during the pandemic because had a personal emergency that we had to deal with, and then took some time off and used my newfound free time to write this book. Why do I bring this up? I didn't know anything about writing a book. You might read my book and say I still don't. That's not the point. The point is, I attended 6 online courses to learn how to write, edit, and market a book. And these were 6 courses delivered over 56 live sessions, most of them on Zoom, some on Google Meet, some on Facebook Live, one on YouTube Live. Class sizes as little as 11 people to as much as 1,200 people. And one of the three things on the right hand side would happen. The first, the presenter keeps droning, linear, monotone, talk, 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 talk. People wait for the recording, watch it at 1.5 times the speed, because guess what? There's no difference. The second, the presenter asks questions like, hey, where's everybody joining from? Oh, fantastic. We got Peter and Redding, and I'm going to ignore all the rest of you who put an answer out there in the chat. Or the third, which in my opinion is the most self sabotaging, is where the presenter would encourage people to pull out their phones, scan a QR code on the screen, and then go on to their phones and answer a question like, what did you eat for breakfast today, or something like that. That's a lot of effort to type bagels. And second, I mean, once you send a person to this device, good luck with getting them back because just look at mine. That's the number of notifications I already have. And once I'm here, that's an excuse for me to look through those things, the latest offer, the latest news, what's happening on TikTok. Why would you sabotage your own sessions by sending people to their phones when there is chat that they already are on and that you can use in very interesting and creative ways, like we've been showing you over here? So that's the gist of what we do here at Stream Alive. And I want to show you how you can turn any session into an interactive session. And for that, what I'm going to do is actually pull up all of you who participated and in the session so far. So these are the names. Streamalive has automatically pulled up the names of everybody who has participated in the session today with at least one comment. My name is missing because I've been here on the presentation. I have not commented. So we are going to see Dave's responses, and Dave talked about reading and biking, and these are all the responses Dave gave. So I'm going to just pick biking, and I'm going to pick biking. And since we talked a lot about the UK, I'm going to talk about biking in London. So let's pretend we're doing a live session on biking in London. We're going to teach people about biking in London on Zoom or Teams, and we want to come up with interesting interactions. We'll do that in a little bit, but I just want to wrap this over here. Our philosophy, as you've seen, is stop one-way presentations. How do you do that? Unmute the audience. How do you unmute the audience? Make the chat stream alive, because Zoom, Teams, Google Meet, everything has chat. So that's a core philosophy of what we do. And before I jump out, I just want to see if there are any more questions that have come up. And let's look at unanswered question. All right, it's an empty slate. Cool. So biking in London, I want to show you what a live session on that is going to look like. And for that, what I'm going to do over here is first jump onto my Streamer Live web application. I'm going to ask Streamer Live. And by the way, if you wanted to do everything that I'm doing today, all you need to do is go to streamerlive.com. That's our website. And sign up for a free account. And you can do everything that I'm showing you today. You can do it with up to 10 people in the audience. If you want more, you'll need a paid plan, but you can play around, see Streamer Live work beautifully for your situation, and see how it transforms your live sessions before you actually use it in a larger live session. So biking in London. One of the biggest issues for us at Stream Alive was helping people come up with interesting questions to ask their audience. So let's say I'm doing a session on biking in London for college students, and I want to come up with interesting questions to ask them. Our AI is doing exactly that. In the interest of time, I'm going to just select all of these questions, add them in here, and boom, I've got a presentation with, what is it, 16 slides, all of which are listening slides that will be powered by the chat. And at this point, if I had some static slides, like let's say I had this static slide I wanted to import, I could just import any static slide into my thing here as well. So I could go listen, talk, listening slide, talking slide, and so on. So it's come up with very interesting questions. What city would you like to explore on a bike next, right? Describe your ideal biking experience in London in one word. In a sentence or two, how do you navigate London's traffic while biking? So a lot of interesting questions. And at this point, I could actually connect it to Zoom or Teams like I showed you before. But instead, what I'm going to do is run a preview because our AI also simulates live sessions. And this is the presenter screen. I'm going to open what is called simulated platform view to show you what's actually happening. People are participating in the Zoom chat, or if it were a session like today in the Teams chat. Again, all people are doing is putting it in the chat because Zoom, Teams, YouTube, everything has chat, right? So they're just putting it in the chat, and that chat is getting visualized on the presenter screen. The presenter is showing it back to the audience. Everybody is seen, heard, acknowledged as they type answers in the chat. The presenter can fly around, have fun doing a whole bunch of things, right? I can then go into a static slide, talk about biking in London and how this is a picture of a beautiful bike, and then ask people, hey, in one word, what is your ideal biking experience? And as they type answers, it populates a word cloud. Streamalive is giving me a true flavor of what the session can look like. Sometimes a word is not enough. I might ask people a more nuanced question like, what strategies do you use to navigate traffic? And they give me answers about hand signaling and off-peak times and high visibility gear and GPS apps and designated bike routes. And at this point, I'm like, the audience is seen, heard, acknowledged, but as a presenter, that's a lot of content for me to take cognizance of. So I could use Streamalive's AI to summarize all these very, very erudite responses that hopefully my audience will give when I actually run this session and say, I want a summary. And it pulls up a summary of all those responses to that specific question and gives me a neat package bunch of text saying, here's the highlights of what people said: safety, smart routing, staying visible, right? Bike maintenance. Here is the popular opinion. The majority emphasize using bike lanes and so on. And there's a smaller group who are talking about avoiding busy intersections. For the first time ever, I've asked an open-ended question to a large audience and summarized their responses in real time. And I've moved beyond the standard, very childlike thing of raise your hands, put your hands down, here's a poll, A, B, C. People think a lot more nuanced than polls and yes, no questions. And so a lot of different things you can do with Streamalive. I'm just going to flip through these. As you saw, polls, you different ways to visualize open-ended answers, give the illusion of jumping from one mind to the next. Spin a wheel to choose something interesting, talk about one of these routes maybe, ask people to only react with emojis, and visualize those in real time. Just allow them to be children again. Ask them to give a rating on a scale of 1 to 5, and then as it gives it, calculate a real-time average, have quiz questions, run a Kahoot-like thing with yes, no, right questions, have a leaderboard on who's leading, spin a wheel, find questions, find links, text, commenters, leaderboards. There's a lot you can do with chat. Best part, end of it will give you a truckload of analytics. This is a session I did on Saturday. I was doing a workshop around the theme of my book. I had 48 people, 770 comments in that 60-minute session, a little more than 60 minutes. At peak, I had 54 comments in a minute. That's almost one comment a second from 48 people. My average was 10. These are the people who participated. This is how the chat was on fire. You see the spikes. The colored bars are when I ran Stream Alive. No coincidence there. Run Stream Alive. Engagement goes through the roof. I asked a lot of questions. I played a lot of games. We actually had 22 different interactions on different things. People asked a lot of questions. They shared a lot of links, and at the end of it, Streamer Live generated a beautiful set of images that I need to post very soon on LinkedIn and talk about what a beautiful session we did. Yeah. Few last things, Streamer Live also has a Zoom application. So if you're into Zoom, please go to the Zoom app marketplace. We are the number one AI app. We are the number one employee engagement app. We are the number one app for education. And this allows you to run Streamer Live. All those things I showed you in your web application can run inside of Zoom directly. And of course, please install the PowerPoint add-in, which allows you to simply go to an empty slide like this, say you want to add the add-in, and I think I have two instances running of it right now, so it's not going to pull that up over here, but you get the idea. Have the add-in and run interactions like we've been doing so far in this session over here, right? I did not go through this, but we also have the ability to run quizzes and leaderboards and all of those over here. So, I could ask you a question like, hey, which of these does Streamer Live not support? Quiz is a new feature. Let's test it out if you don't mind. You got a minute or so. So type one if you think it is one, two if you think it is in person and hybrid. Just type it in the Zoom chat, in the Teams chat, please. And maybe I disconnected it or the quiz is not coming up. Yeah, the quiz is probably not working. Oh, it is. Okay. So you got a few responses over there. Supports them all. And then I could actually go to the next slide and hopefully it shows up the leaderboard. And yeah, it's showing up the leaderboard, a few clunky things that still needs to resolve in terms of filling out points and things. But quizzes are something that you can run entirely inside of PowerPoint. So you don't have to leave your PowerPoint at all. Everything, talk, listen, a full conversation can happen from within PowerPoint slides. So again, please go to streamerlive.com, sign up for an account. And if you want to sign up for the PowerPoint add-in, just go to Microsoft App Source, search for Streamer Live, find the PowerPoint add-in. It's in public beta at this point, so there are still a few rough edges here and there. So use it with your at your discretion. The web application though works beautifully. Heads up, since some of you mentioned Gamma, we're also coming up with an add-in for Gamma where you can literally go from a slide to an interaction to a slide to an interaction and do that absolutely seamlessly within Gamma. Coming soon. But first, we're going to nail the PowerPoint use case and build a few more things to that. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you try out Streamer Live. Lovely to have you. We run these sessions every week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays are on Zoom and Thursdays are on Teams like today. And every week is different because I've never done cycling in London before. And I have no clue what I'm going to be doing next week. And the only way to find out is to actually join us. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Have a lovely rest of your day.